Welcome to the video lecture series on sociology. Today we'll be talking about economics as a social institution from the chapter 3, that is Understanding Social Institution, from class 11th textbook, that is Understanding Society. In our previous lecture, we discussed about social institutions and we discussed about family, marriage and kinship as social institutions. In this lecture, we'll be focusing more on economics as a social institution. But first, let's have a recap what we discussed about social institutions in our previous lecture. Now, social institution is groups of persons banded together for common purposes, having rights, privileges, liabilities, goals or objectives distinct and independent from those of individual members. And there are certain characteristics of an institution, and these characteristics are: institutions are purposive, they are relatively permanent in their content, and institutions are structured. Now, when we talked about various social institutions in society, there are 5 broad areas wherein these social institutions lies, and these broad areas are family, education, religion, economics, politics. We have already discussed about family, and today we will be talking about economics as a social institution. Now, let's discuss about economy as a social institution. Economy is the institution that provides for the production and distribution of goods and services which are required by the people in any society. Now, sometimes people provide for themselves and sometimes people depend on others for goods and services. Now, when they have to depend on others for any goods and service, they require something in exchange, and it could be currency when we talk about the industrialized society, and it could be other goods and services if we talk about the pre-modern society, which we also call the barter system. Now, the customs surrounding the exchange and distribution of goods and services shape societies in a fundamental ways. Now, when we talk about economy as the production and distribution of goods and services, this brings us to another concept which is called work. Now, work is carrying out tasks requiring the expenditure of mental or physical effort, which has its objective, that is the production of goods and services that cater to human need. This is what is the definition of work, and whenever we talk about work, most of the time the things which comes to our mind is the paid employment, and this is true in the modern times. But this is a very oversimplistic view of work. Much of the work done is not recorded in any direct way in the official employment statistic, and this is what is informal economy. Informal economy in fact refers to transaction outside the sphere of regular employment, and here what happens that most of the money which is floated around in the society, that is not actually recorded, and the transaction which happens, it happens in the terms of the cash which we give to the other people or the exchange of goods and services. But here that whatever the money is there, whatever the money is floated in the society, that is not recorded, and this actually brings a lot of problem in the society, and as a sociologist we need to study these problems also. Now, let us discuss forms of work and how work was done in the pre-modern society and in the industrially developed society. When we talk about the pre-modern society, most of the people in that society, they used to work in farms, they used to work in agriculture, they used to take care of the livestock. But when we talk about the industrially developed society, the people, they moved away from the agriculture, and even the agriculture wherever it is done, it has also become industrialized because most of the work is done through machines and not by the human hands. But when we talk about India, there is an exception, which means that in India at this point of time also a lot of people are involved in agriculture. And in India, even in the modern society, there is another thing, there is another characteristic which is very important, and that is the expansion of service sector, which is happening at this point of time. Now, when we talk about the economic system, there are certain economic systems and there are characteristics of economic system in modern societies. One is the existence of highly complex division of labor, and which never happened in the past in the pre-modern society. Here the work is divided into enormous number of occupation, and for each occupation we require the specialized people, we require the professionals to do that particular work. If we compare this with what used to happen in the pre-modern society, in the traditional society, whenever we used to talk about the non-agricultural work, that entails to the mastery of craft. And to master these craft skill, there was a lengthy process of apprenticeship, wherein the person used to spend a lot of time from the childhood to master that particular skill. And one very important thing which I need to mention here is that whosoever was involved in this particular craft, they used to work on any product from the beginning till the end. That means that they had the entire ownership of the production of that particular product. Another characteristic, if we talk about the economic system in the modern society, is the shift in location of work. Earlier in pre-modern societies, the work and used to happen from the home only. There, all the family members, they used to be involved in that particular work. Even if we take case of India and if we go to the rural areas, at this point of time, we'll notice that in some of the areas, such works are done, whereas there is no distinction between the workplace and the home. So, most of the work is done from home. But with the advances in industrial technology such as machinery operating on coal and electricity, that contributed to the separation of work and home. That is the major thing which happened after the industrialization, and the people started going to offices, the people started going to factories, and the entire attention focused on the factories where the goods were produced, which was away from the house. And this also brought in a lot of challenges, lot of issues which the sociologists they are studying, and that's a major area of study. Then the third very important characteristic of modern society is the enormous expansion of economic interdependence. Now, we depend on number of workers, and these workers, they are stretched across the borders for number of products. There are very few people who actually produce the food they eat. They actually manufacture the clothes they wear. So, what happens nowadays is that we have to depend a lot on the number of people for any product and for any service. And these are the features and these are the characteristics of the economic system in the modern societies. Now, let us talk about the economic systems of the world. In the entire world, there are two major economic systems, and then there is a blend of these economic systems. The two major economic systems are the capitalism and socialism. Capitalism is a system under which resources and means of production are privately owned. Citizens are encouraged to seek profit for themselves, and success or failure of an enterprise is determined by free market competition. Now, US is an example of this, wherein most of the businesses are owned by the private individuals, but the government do play a role, as in they regulate these business, they formulate policies to regulate these business. The second is socialism. It is a system under which resources and means of production are owned by the society as a whole. Now, rights to private property are limited here, and the good of the whole society is stressed more than individual profit, and the government maintains control over the economy. China is an example of socialist economy. China is a socialist country wherein all the resources are controlled by the government. Now, we will come on to the blend of this two, socialism and capitalism. The first is the welfare capitalism. It is a system that features a market-based economy coupled with an extensive social welfare system that includes free healthcare and education for all citizens. Now, Sweden allows private business ownership, but the government controls a significant part of the economy, and high taxes support an extensive array of social welfare programs. Another is the state capitalism. It is a system under which resources and means of production are privately owned, but closely monitored and regulated by the government. Example of this is South Korea's, wherein the South Korea's government work very closely with the country's major companies to ensure their success in the global marketplace. We have just discussed the various economic systems in the entire world. And there's this one theory which we also need to understand and we need to know, that is the Marx economics theory. Now, according to Marx, economy was the basic institution of society, and all other institutions, which includes family, education, religion, politics, they serve to fuel economy. And as society became more industrialized, according to him, the capitalistic system, increased. And he said that in the capitalistic system, there are two sort of people. One is the factory owners and another workers. And there has always been a conflict between these two. And since Marx was a conflict theorist, he said that, in any capitalist society, there will be a conflict between owners of means of production and the workers. And he says that to resolve this conflict, these workers, they need to unite together and they have to mount a revolution. And he says that, after such a revolution and when the dust will settle down, all the societies will be communist. And when we say communist, it means that all means of production would be owned by everyone and all profits will be shared equally by everyone. And actually his ideas created revolution in many of the countries, and one is the Russian Revolution, which happened in 1917. Let's talk about some important trends in economy. The way the world economies work are changing rapidly. There are certain very important trends. One is the globalization. It's the expansion of economic activity across many borders that characterizes the global economy. The worldwide movement toward economic, financial, trade and communication integration. Now, globalization implies the opening of local and nationalistic perspective to a broader outlook of an interconnected and interdependent world with the free transfer of capital, goods and service across the national frontier. So, this is one very important aspect and the trend which is happening in the economy, that is the globalization. The second is demand for educated professionals. Now, when we know that if we talk about any product, that product actually went through various stages of production, and for each stage of production we require specialists, and that calls for a demand for educated professionals, for specialized people who would do that particular work. The third very important trend is the self-employment, and this is happening because of the new affordable communication technology, and this has actually allowed more people to go into business for themselves because they are exposed to number of things, and it's not that there is a certain thing which one group of people knows, but with the new communication technology, with the access of information, a lot of people know how to construct or produce one particular product. So, the people are going in for the self-employment. Now, the last trend is the diversity in the workplace. Now, when we talk about globalization, and if we go in any multinational company, we would see the people from the different nations working at one place. And also here, there's one trend which I would like to point out is that earlier only the male members of the family, they used to go out and they used to work. But now, if we look at the workforce, the equal number, or maybe like in some of the services, more than male members, female are working, and they are working in number of areas, number of services. So, these are the various economic trends, and these trends are changing, and it will keep on changing as the society is changing. As we said, that it's very dynamic and the things keep changing. Now, let's have a recap of what we have discussed today. Today in this lecture, we discussed about economy as a social institution. We discussed about a very important concept, that is work, and we tried to differentiate between what is paid employment and what is informal economy. We also talked about forms of work in pre-modern and industrialized societies. Then we also talked about the characteristics of the modern economy, which were the existence of high complex division of labor, shift in location of work, and enormous expansion of economic interdependence. Now, to understand economic interdependence, let's do an activity. Make a list of the food you eat, clothes you wear, and various type of things you used. Find out how and who made them. Prepare the complete cycle from the production of raw material to the point from where you purchase that product, and try to find out on how many people and organizations you were dependent on. So this will give you an idea of how economic interdependent we are. And once you are through with this activity, you can share your observation, you can share your viewpoint on the Google group which we have created for you. That's all for now. Thank you very much.